Imagine, imagine for a second that you have just been handed the keys to a sprawling, just absolutely incredible mansion.
Oh, nice.
Right. We are talking high ceilings, floor-to-ceiling windows, letting in all this natural light, acres of rolling land outside, a massive library, a state-of-the-art kitchen, literally the works.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Exactly. And it is entirely yours. But instead of, exploring the halls or setting up your bedroom in the master suite, you walk through the front door, you find the little coat closet in the entryway, you step inside, you shut the door, and you decide, you know what? I think I'm just going to live right in here.
Which, it sounds completely absurd when you frame it like that.
Right.
You have all of this architecture, all of this breathtaking space designed specifically for you to inhabit and enjoy.
Right.
And you are actively choosing to, sit in the dark with the winter coats and the vacuum cleaner.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. You're choosing the closet over the mansion.
Yeah.
It's absurd. But physiologically, psychologically speaking, we do it every single day.
We really do.
And that is exactly our mission for this deep dive. Today, we're looking at a set of source materials titled Expanding the Boundaries of a Spacious Life.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to map out the exact blueprint of, why we constantly shrink our lives down to the size of a coat closet, and more importantly, the mechanics of how to actually step out into a truly spacious life.
Right, because the source material, it doesn't just leave us with the diagnosis of the problem.
Yeah, that would be depressing.
Right, it gives us a very specific, actionable blueprint for expanding our capacity.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at why we naturally restrict ourselves, why our brains actually gravitate toward that metaphorical coat closet.
You have a vacuum cleaner and all.
Exactly. And why the text argues so passionately that we are built for so much more.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the text starts with a couple of metaphors that are just incredibly visceral.
They really are.
It asks if you've ever felt like you are living your life a size too small. Like you're walking around in shoes that pinch your toes with, like every single step you take.
Ouch.
Or like you're trying to shove this massive, beautiful dream into a tiny, cramped cardboard box.
That pinching feeling is a perfect description of the low-grade friction so many people feel on just a daily basis.
Yeah.
The text points out that we often consciously shrink our expectations, our faith, and our vision down to the absolute bare minimum.
Just to get by.
Right. We shrink it all down just to survive to Friday. We stop looking at the horizon, and we just look at the ground right in front of our feet because, it feels safer.
Mm-hmm.
But the core assertion of this text, the ground truth it establishes right away, is that God never desired a small, compressed life for you.
And the author brings in this fascinating piece of historical context to prove the point. They highlight the Apostle Paul writing to the early church in Corinth.
Right.
Now, the text notes that Corinth was a busy, chaotic, high-pressure city. Like, these people were stressed out.
Very stressed.
They were compromising their values just to fit in. They were pulling back into their shells, basically just trying to get by without drawing attention to themselves.
Yeah. Head down, don't make a scene.
Exactly. And Paul writes this to them in the Message translation of 2 Corinthians chapter 6. He says, I can't tell you how much I long for you to enter this wide open, spacious life. We didn't fence you in. The smallness you feel comes from within you.
Wow, that line is a heavy realization. The smallness you feel comes from within you.
It hits hard, right?
Yeah.
And he goes on to say, your lives aren't small, but you're living them in a small way. Open up your lives. Live openly and expansively.
Mm-hmm.
So coming back to our opening idea, we inherit the massive mansion, but we choose the coat closet. I have to ask you, and I want to offer a hypothesis here.
Okay, go for it.
If the fence is internal, I have to imagine this is basically an evolutionary defense mechanism. Are we talking about the brain's negativity bias actively keeping us in the closet because the rest of the mansion is just, too unpredictable? Why are we so quick to build these internal fences when the door is wide open?
Well, what's fascinating here is exactly that underlying psychology. You are spot on about the defense mechanism. We have to look at how trauma and past disappointments literally rewire the brain. The human nervous system is exquisitely designed to prioritize safety, predictability, and control over expansion.
Interesting.
So when Paul tells the Corinthians, we didn't fence you in, he's pointing out a fundamental truth about human nature. God didn't build a cage around their potential.
Right.
There's no external barrier holding them back. the fences are entirely internal.
So the fences are literally built out of our own biology trying to protect us.
Yes, according to the text, they're built out of fear and past disappointments.
Oh, wow.
Let's say you stepped out into the spacious life before. Maybe you, I don't know, took a huge risk and started a business, or you opened up your heart in a relationship.
Yeah, and you got deeply hurt.
Exactly. Your brain registers that open space as a threat. It creates a cognitive loop that says the open is dangerous, the small space is safe.
Makes sense.
So your instinct is to build a massive internal fence so you never wander out there again. Or, honestly, sometimes the fence is just built out of a desire for comfort.
Right, because the coat closet might be cramped and your toes might be bleeding in those pinched shoes, but at least you know the exact dimensions of the closet.
Exactly.
It's a known quantity.
It's a known quantity.
It's manageable. Like a giant mansion requires upkeep. It requires walking around, exploring rooms that might be dark, taking on responsibility.
Yeah, paying the heating bill for the mansion.
Right. The closet is just there. You can touch all four walls at the same time. It gives you the illusion of total control. Think about your own life right now, if you're listening to this. Are you sitting in a job that pays the bills but completely numbs your mind?
Oof.
That's the coat closet. You know exactly what time you clock in. You know the annoying thing your boss is going to say, and it's 100% predictable.
Yeah.
The mansion is quitting to start your own thing. But the mansion is terrifying.
It is. We find a strange, addictive kind of safety in smallness.
Wow, yeah. Addictive safety.
But here's why Paul's message in this text is actually deeply empowering, rather than just being a critique.
Yeah.
If the fence was external, if society or the economy or circumstances or God had fenced you in, you would be a victim.
Right, you'd be stuck.
You would be completely trapped without recourse.
Yeah.
But because Paul asserts that the fence is internal, built by your own hands and your own fears, it means you have the explicit power to tear it down. So you put the walls up, which means you hold the hammer.
That is a massive perspective shift. The smallness isn't a life sentence. It's a temporary structure we put up ourselves.
Exactly.
So that's the diagnosis. We are living big lives in a small way because our nervous systems are terrified of the open space.
Yes.
But how do we actually get out? Because if the fence is internal and it's reinforced by deeply ingrained fears, it can be incredibly hard to just, think our way out of it.
Right.
It feels like we need an external catalyst to pull us out of the closet.
And that is exactly where the source material takes the argument next.
Yep.
It presents this historical and scriptural view of God as a God of expansion. The text argues that when you look at the entire arc of Scripture, God is consistently, actively trying to pull his people out of cramped defensive spaces.
And the text uses King David as the prime example here. And David is an incredible case study for this because he knew exactly what it meant to be hunted. Like he was literally pressed from all sides by an actual army.
Yeah, an actual literal army.
Right. Physically trapped and hiding in cramped, dark caves in the wilderness just to save his own life.
Yeah.
But then we look at Psalm 18, verse 19, where David is describing God's ultimate deliverance. And he doesn't say, God gave me a better, safer cave.
Right.
He writes, he brought me out into a spacious place. He rescued me because he delighted in me.
The contrast there is just so deliberate.
Yeah.
The source defines a spacious place as a place where you have room to breathe, room to move, and room to grow. It is not just a rescue from the darkness. It is an active invitation into expansion.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
I want to offer a little bit of pushback on this, or at least play devil's advocate for a second.
Sure.
If I am David, and there is literally a king trying to assassinate me, a cramped, dark cave is actually a brilliant strategic move.
Well, strategically.
Right. It's a highly defensible hiding spot. It has one entrance, it keeps me hidden, and it keeps me alive. If someone suddenly pulls me out of that highly defensible cave and drops me into a wide open, spacious place, like a giant open field, doesn't that actually leave me incredibly vulnerable?
That's a fair question.
I mean, I have no walls. My enemies can see me from a mile away. Isn't the spacious place the absolute last place you'd want to be?
That is the exact paradox of growth. And it's why our nervous systems fight the expansion so hard. Yes, it is terrifying.
Okay.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to look at the fundamental difference between surviving and flourishing. You are absolutely right. A cave is defensible. A coat closet is safe. But you cannot live a full life in a cave. You can only survive in it. True deliverance, the kind the text is talking about here, isn't just about hiding from danger forever. It is about stepping into the vulnerability required for growth.
So if you're listening to this and you've just been handed a massive promotion or you've finally moved to a new city to start over, that is your spacious place.
Yeah.
And you probably feel incredibly exposed right now, like you're standing in an open field without armor.
It demands vulnerability. When David says God brought him into a spacious place, he is acknowledging that he is no longer living defensively.
Right.
To have room to breathe, move, and grow means you have to be willing to be seen. You have to be willing to stretch your arms out. Moving from the cave to the open field is the shift from mere survival to actual abundant flourishing. You have to trade the illusion of total safety for the reality of a full life.
Wow. Trading the illusion of safety for the reality of a full life.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. But it also completely explains why stepping into that spacious place is so intimidating.
Because you're exposed.
Right, because once you're out there, you are exposed. We can't just passively stand out there in the open field and hope we don't get taken out by the elements.
No, definitely not.
Which is why I love the next part of the source material. It doesn't just say, go stand in the open and figure it out. It actually provides a literal physical blueprint for how to sustain this new expansion.
It does. To survive the open field, you need shelter, but not a cave. You need a tent.
A tent, okay.
Yeah. The text takes us to the words of the prophet Isaiah. It points to Isaiah 54, verse 2, as the ultimate instruction manual for managing a spacious life. It reads, "Enlarge the place of your tent, stretch your tent curtains wide, do not hold back, lengthen your cords, strengthen your stakes."
I love the action words the author highlights there. Enlarge, stretch, do not hold back.
Yes.
This isn't a passive state of being. It requires us to actively build the capacity to hold what God wants to pour out into our lives.
Exactly. The message is essentially, I have more for you, but right now your container is too small.
Oh, that's good.
You cannot put a massive blessing into a tiny box. You have to build the infrastructure for the expansion you are asking for.
So what does this all mean practically? Like, let's look at the physics of this tent metaphor, because I think it's brilliant engineering on Isaiah's part.
It really is. Let's
Yeah.
break it down.
Okay, so if you have a small two-person camping tent, you only need short little cords and shallow stakes pushed a couple of inches into the dirt. It's easy.
Right. Very low effort.
But if you are going to enlarge the place of your tent and stretch your curtains wide, if you are building this massive, sweeping circus tent to cover a spacious life, the physics change entirely.
Completely.
If you lengthen those cords to make the tent bigger, you must drive the stakes much deeper and much stronger into the earth.
Yes.
And think about the tension required on those ropes. Without tension, the massive tent just sags in the middle and collapses on top of you. You actually need tension to hold the space open.
That's a really good point.
And if you don't have deep, strong stakes to handle that tension, the first strong wind that comes along is going to catch that massive canopy like a sail and rip the whole thing out of the ground.
That is a phenomenal way to visualize it.
Yeah.
The wider the canopy, the deeper the anchor needs to be. The capacity to stretch out is entirely dependent on your ability to stay grounded.
Right. So according to the text, how do we drive those stakes deeper? What actually are the stakes? Because the text shifts back to Paul in 2 Corinthians to talk about a very specific warning about who you let into your space.
This raises an important question about what it actually takes to sustain an expanded life in the real world.
Yeah.
The text explains that the deep stakes are your boundaries, protecting your space. The source returns to 2 Corinthians 6 to warn against linking up with things that pollute your environment.
It explicitly says you cannot live expansively if you are entertaining small-minded gossip, toxic environments, or spiritual compromises that drain your energy.
Because those things rot the stakes.
Ah.
Think about it. If your stakes are rotten, the tension fails, the ropes go slack, and your big, beautiful tent collapses.
Man.
Boundaries, the conscious, sometimes uncomfortable decision to reject toxic environments and refuse to participate in small-minded gossip, those boundaries act as the heavy, unmovable stakes. Knowing exactly what to keep out of your life is the mechanism that allows you to safely grow within it.
That is such a crucial distinction. We almost always think of boundaries as things that restrict us, things that fence us in.
Like a negative thing.
Yeah, like, I can't do this, I can't go there, but the text is arguing the exact opposite. Healthy boundaries aren't fences that trap you in a coat closet. They are the tent stakes that allow your canopy to stretch out as far as possible without blowing away.
Yes.
Without boundaries, your life shrinks back down because you can't handle the wind.
It completely reframes the concept of self-protection. You aren't protecting yourself by hiding in a defensible cave anymore.
Right.
You are protecting the wide open space you've been given so that it stays pure and functional. And the text connects this directly to the words of Jesus in John chapter 10, verse 10.
The famous contrast between the thief and the abundant life.
Precisely. The text quotes, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." The author defines that life to the full, that abundant life, as the spacious life we've been talking about.
A life that is rich in purpose, deep in joy, and wide in impact.
Exactly.
Not a life that is cramped, compromised, and constantly looking over its shoulder in a cave.
And here's the key insight. That thief isn't always a dramatic, external villain breaking into your life.
Okay, what is it then?
More often than not, the thief is the small-mindedness we casually allow into our tent.
Wow.
The thief is the toxic relationship we refuse to set a boundary with because we want to be polite.
Ouch. Yeah.
The thief is the digital doom scrolling or the workplace gossip that acts as a slow leak, shrinking our perspective back down to the size of a coat closet.
That is so true.
To have life to the full, you have to relentlessly protect the space you are stretching into. The tension of holding that boundary is what keeps the tent up.
So we've walked through the diagnosis. We artificially shrink our lives, and our nervous systems trick us into building internal fences out of fear. We've looked at the antidote, recognizing that the historical push is to pull us out of the caves and into a spacious, if vulnerable, open field.
Right.
And we've unpacked the blueprint, stretching our capacity while driving deep stakes into the ground through strong boundaries. Now we want to bring this right to you, the listener.
Yeah, how do you actually apply this blueprint to your reality today?
The ultimate takeaway from the text is a direct challenge. Stop living a big life in a small way. The call to action is to identify just one internal fence this week.
Just one.
We all have them. You have one. Think about it right now. Is it a dream that you just quietly stopped hoping for because the cognitive dissonance of wanting it but not having it yet felt too painful?
That's a common one.
Or maybe it is one of those deep stakes we talked about. Is it a boundary you need to set with a toxic work environment or a draining friendship, but you haven't set it yet because you're afraid of the pushback?
Yeah, the tension is hard.
It is. But whatever that one fence is, it is time to tear it down. You built it, which means you have the power to dismantle it.
It is a profound invitation to step into the open. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final lingering thought to chew on.
Okay.
We have spent this entire deep dive talking about tearing down your own internal fences so that you can step into a spacious life. But consider this dynamic. What happens when you actually do it?
What do you mean?
What if the very act of stepping fully into your wide open space forces you to bump up against the fences that the people around you have built around themselves?
Oh, wow.
When you refuse to engage in small-minded gossip, or when you start setting firm boundaries, or when you begin pursuing a massive, expansive dream, well, it's going to make the people who are still living in their coat closets very uncomfortable.
Because it exposes them.
Exactly. It shines a spotlight on their own smallness. How will your decision to stop living small challenge the smallness in the people you love? And do you have the deep stakes required to withstand their reaction?
That is a phenomenal question to take with you this week. It's not just about your space. It's about how your expansion shifts the atmosphere for everyone around you.
Right.
You've got the keys to the mansion. It is time to step out of the coat closet, take off those shoes that have been pinching your toes, and start walking the halls of the wide open, spacious life you were meant to live. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We will catch you on the next one.